Alright, welcome back to another episode of Soto Desperado Plays Skyrim. And we listen to people's testimonies and opinions over various topics. I mean, I keep it wide open. I don't go over actual politics too much because, you know, that's a rich man's game from my perspective. But we'll continue off where we left off. I restarted the game because I had lunch. Let me see. Oh, I forgot to take my pill. Always have to take your medication when you're diabetic, unless you want to take shots, which suck. So I got a couple more guys lined up here. Let's take a look at that. Alright, this guy's name is Honest Philosophical Ramblings. That's his YouTube channel. Why men are becoming weaker. It's social media's fault. And this is the gentleman here. And it's pretty interesting. Let's get started.
And today I want to talk about why modern men are becoming weaker. So 50% of men between the ages of 18 and 30 have not approached a woman in the last year. Another interesting stat actually is that it is predicted that 45% of women will be single and childless by the year 2030. But I want to focus on the men a little bit here. Why is it that men are not approaching women? If you've seen the titles of any of my videos on my channel, you will see that I talk a lot about social media and the effects of social media and technology on society and the developing mind. So a big reason why it seems that a lot of this is happening is because when you have kids and they're growing up on social media, they're growing up interacting with their friends a lot of the time through text, Facebook Messenger, or through video games or what have you. They're not learning the skills to socialize. They're not learning the skills to socialize in person to make new friends. And in the same way that they are losing a lot of these social skills and interactions, they are also not learning how to approach women. So before a lot of this technology, you would have men or like boys, teenagers, that would start to approach girls in high school. And then they would get rejected, and they would just learn through the process of approaching women and rejection, and then eventually they would gain confidence, and then at a certain point they would not be faced by rejection. And the thing is that the reality is that a lot of the time when you approach is not going to lead to a date, and there's nothing wrong with that. But because a lot of young men are not learning to do that, and on top of the fact that you have dating apps. So, depending on the dating app, the average man actually doesn't get a lot of matches. There's a few reasons for this. I'm not going to get into all the different reasons and hypergamy and all of those stats. But a big reason as well is you do have dating apps where over 60% of men make up most of the user base of apps. Sometimes even up to 70%. And even if every single woman went out on a date and found a boyfriend with the dating apps, there's still going to be a lot left over just because a lot more men are on apps compared to women. And because the average man doesn't get a lot of matches, and the average man, a lot of conversations don't lead to a date or to a coffee date or anything, then a lot of these young men are feeling rejected already on social media. So they're feeling rejected on social media because they're not getting matches, and a lot of these matches, or the matches that they do get, usually don't lead to dates for the average man. So they already feel rejected. And then the one time that maybe they do happen to approach a woman in person, he gets rejected. And because his self-esteem is already down because he's not getting matches, and he's not able to get dates for dating apps, his self-esteem and his self-worth is already lowered. I'm not saying that it's objectively lower, I'm just saying from his point of view. And then when he does approach a woman that leads to rejection, then men can take it really, really hard. So you could say in a sense, yes, men are becoming weaker. But also I would say that men are in a way a victim to technology and social media, as they didn't learn these social skills. Again, in the same way that Gen Z is one of the loneliest generations, or is the loneliest generation, because they are so connected, yet so far apart. Young people feel so lonely. It is the loneliness epidemic. And that not only affects friendships and other connections, but it's also affecting the way that people court. and people date. So they're not learning these social skills in the same way that young people are not learning how to socialize and make friends in person. A lot of young men are not learning to approach women in person. So really, in part, they are a victim of technology. And women are also affected by technology in a lot of different ways. Like, we all know body image issues that are caused through social media, Instagram, all the influencers. But I think from the woman's side of view, also the dating apps also give an illusion of choice. And that's what it is, it's just an illusion of choice. But on the positive side of that, but then the stats, out of the 50% of men that did approach women, so out of that 50%, 70% were able to get a number or a follow-up date. A smaller percentage would lead to sex. And then in the long-term relationship, it was roughly like 20%. Right? Mind you, this is out of the 50% of men that do approach women. If the other 50% were to suddenly do it, it might not work in the same way, just because they're probably not going to be approaching them with confidence, right? And if you don't approach with confidence, then women aren't necessarily going to be attracted to somebody who doesn't have confidence. But again, that confidence is built, which again is not something that a lot of young men are learning, in part because of this, right? It's kind of interesting as well for the women that approach men. Rejection, they do take it especially hard because they feel like they're breaking a social norm to approach first, and then they still get rejected. So they feel like it's a double layer, which is why they can take it really hard. My experience is a little bit different with all of this because I am demisexual. I did make a video about that, so I don't experience primary attraction. I never have in my life. So I've been on many first dates where I was never attracted to the woman that I was speaking to because my attraction just develops over time. I've always been that way. I can't help it. So I have rejected a number of women, and I know they take it very, very hard because almost every single one of them basically disappeared and I never saw them again. And some of them were even visibly angry because it was probably the first time that they ever actually got rejected by a man. So my experience with all of this is a little bit different. But for other men out there, and for the average person that does experience a lot of primary attraction, approaching people is just something that you have to learn to do. And technology is something that has taken away that skill from young men. And yes, many would blame men and say, oh, they're just becoming weaker. But then, at the same time, can you really blame a high school kid that is growing up in a society where it's all technology? Everything is social media, everything is dating apps. Can you really blame him for being in that environment? And then, can you blame women for not being attracted to weak men or men who are not confident? Like, a lot of these things are evolutionary. So of course women are attracted to men who have confidence. And I would say it's not the direct fault of anybody. Is the result of a overall societal problem, which is all of this overuse of technology and not learning to talk to people in person. So I think these conversations are worth having. And it's worth talking about this so we can do something about it. But in other videos I have talked about how it's good for parents to get their kids to dial back on social media. Not only because of the societal thing of like learning to talk to people and make friends in person, but also just because social media use is correlated with more depression, anxiety, feelings of hopelessness, lack of purpose. There's also all of that subconscious comparison that is happening when you see all of these influencers for both men and women. You have all these perfect female influencers with a perfect body, and you have these perfect men with the six-pack abs, so it's affecting everybody. But then if you dial back, you're not only help with the issue of body image issues, low self-esteem, but also encouraging young people to socialize in person, make friends in person, go to group events, go to dance events, go to sporting events, go to an art club, just doing these things in person and socializing and making connections that way. And by doing all of that, it's going to help improve a lot of these societal problems, in my opinion. Not only the depression and all of this comparison that we do by comparing our lives to everybody else's highlight reels, but also from a socializing perspective. Anyways, a lot of these topics are important to me, because the future of society is important to me. It should be important to you. It should be important to everybody. And if anybody comes across this video and you like what I have to say, I would appreciate you sharing the video. I'll be posting some more things like this often. Yeah, but the most important thing is to start the conversation. Start the conversation, and then that way we can all dial back on social media use. To some extent, it's going to fix a lot of things, including this issue. So getting the conversation started is the most important.
You wish to master the arcane arts. Take care of yourself, and always remember, the world is ripe with people looking to spill your... I have so very many ways I can teach you, but I won't be held responsible for what... You're trying my patience. I can teach you, but I won't be held responsible for what you do with the knowledge. Sure. So, you wish to master the arcane arts? Stay guarded. You never know what could be out there.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, hello. Just tidying up.
So, going back to this person.
Yes, so
Go back here. So this person.
Why is it that men are not?
This person made good points. He sees that social media is originally designed to bring people together. You know, to get people to keep in contact through tweets and texts and Facebook and all these other things. And in the end, what it does is sometimes it does the opposite effect. Because people need interpersonal skills. When I was young, one of the reasons why... Oops, I'm sorry. I had that thing off. One of the reasons why I failed as a computer information systems professional wasn't because I was stupid or ignorant. It was simply because I didn't have the training that I was supposed to have in the university. Universities don't train you, at least the one I went to didn't train me anywhere near as enough as they need out there. So the whole degree thing is just like 10% of what you need to be capable out there. 30% of that's going to be your social ability to communicate. And that's what he's saying, is that all this distance has caused people to become socially distant. They don't communicate. Lots of things that are supposed to happen don't happen. And as a result, because of that, you wind up having dating apps that really don't work. Okay. So, a dating app, a lot of people complaining about the dating apps, but the way I see it, if you really want to find somebody to be with and you want to fall in love, you give them a real chance. And I've never seen it to where they actually do that sort of thing. I've never seen it to where, the woman is always critical about the man. Absolutely fucking critical. Doesn't give him a real chance. He's too short. His mustache is weird. His mustache is weird. So, oh no, he can't be a good man for me. No, look at that weird mustache. Every time I kiss him, I'm going to get that fuzz in my face, Instead of saying, well, I don't really like that. And, the guy will shave, just to touch those lips, dumb little things like that, honestly. And so after a while, I'm going to give this guy a thumbs up. men that get discouraged very easily and give up. I got discouraged after trying, like, I think I tried like 4 or 5 years to find something of significance, and I couldn't get it. I didn't even bother with the old resume because it doesn't mean anything to any of them, you know. And what happened is also the other thing I did wrong is when you do the searches, you have to tell those companies what they want to hear. If you don't lie on the resume and make your resume stand out, you're nothing. The computer will just glance over it. No matches, no matches, no matches. You want to match with everything. You want to talk to them about everything. And I didn't do that. I wasn't very up and going. I wasn't very social back then when I was young. Now I am, but now I have a different idea of what success is. Success is not working in the computer industry because that shit changes all the time. Success is making your own money, standing on your own, having your own business. If I had been successful in computers, I could have made it a computer-based business and provided employment. But now I'm basically going stock market and fuck it. You know, I just don't care anymore. I'm going to start doing Forex pretty soon, every day, because I work from home and I can do it while I'm working. And I can sit on my ass, make money, and get some of these problems resolved. Everything's money. The cat I took in there, I told him I have maybe $100 I can give you, and the guy gave me a break. He just charged me for the medicine. I couldn't even get the medicine on the cat. I had to put the cat out because he kept attacking everybody, and he's out there with a bad eye because nobody has money to help him. You know, it's a stray cat. Nobody cares, and it frustrates me not to have the resources. Like my father left me with nothing. This stuff on social media, women are very picky. They want a man that's going to provide for them, but they want to be the man of the house. They want to be in control of everything. They want to dominate. And men don't want to be dominated. Real men, I mean, I'm like a, gamma male or some shit, some weak male. So I'm used to being dominated by the woman. My mother dominated me, and that's all she cared about was she didn't care if I suffered. She didn't care about anything except hurting me. That's why I was surprised she bailed me out. I couldn't believe she bailed me out because jail and prison are the ultimate suffering on this planet besides extreme poverty situations. And that's what we're looking at, a mentality of a woman that's been twisted into becoming something she's not. And we saw this in the last video I did where the other guy was talking about the same thing. They're trying to take on the role of a man, and no man wants to marry another man. A man wants a feminine woman, you know, that supports him. It's just stupid. This whole country is going haywire. But anyway, thanks, bro, for honest philosophical ramblings. Why men are becoming weaker. It's a social media fault. Well, it's not social media. I think it's a people fault in the terms that they don't have enough interaction. Like he just said, they don't have enough interaction person in person to do that. I was a very antisocial, stand-away-ish person. I only had a few select friends that really, they were all worth shit. You know, they weren't worth anything. They still aren't. But, you know, that's the way life is. You know, there are people that innately manipulate you into liking them, and there are people that you just naturally like. And there weren't a lot out there that I naturally liked, and I didn't manipulate anybody. I didn't tailor my resume to stand out and put a bunch of lies on the resume to get the computer to give me a chance. It was the computer that was looking to give me a chance. The computer, not the people. The people are going to react to whatever the computer says comes up. And same thing with this dating site shit. You know, if you don't fill that out properly and you don't really represent in the computer, you're not going to get a lot of matches. That's what he said. Men don't get a lot of matches. They don't. Because they're not putting it in there right, just like I did with that stupid resume or something else to that effect. Maybe there's not much there to put on. But you got to sell yourself. If I learned anything, if you don't sell yourself, you don't accomplish shit. You know? But anyway, these are very good points. Thank you for that video. I'm going to go on to the next video. This guy, Linval Williams. Okay. I don't know why his name is Linval. But anyway, says money is important no matter our belief system. Money is vital to our existence. This guy, he's one of the guys that I consider a real black man, a real man. Okay. So this guy I always listen to. I don't even question what he says anymore. I'm not at that point where, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it. Here we go.
Isn't everything. But money is important. For me personally, my father, coming from a third world country, he understood the importance of money. And he would be a hypocrite if he left his own country where he came from for better opportunity and then find his way to America and to not take advantage of opportunities. It's hypocritical, pure hypocrisy. You cannot put yourself in a position to where everything you do, you're contradicting yourself. If you are in America and your family come from a third world country like mine, you ain't got time to play games. No debate, no argument. Don't come up with no quote. Don't come up with no excuse.
Playing games.
You have work to do. Now, me understanding money doesn't do anything but solve money problems. And you also can put yourself in a position to where you feel comfortable giving other people money. So you acquire it, you put yourself in a better position with it, and in doing so, you can give money to others. How many people right now are struggling because of money? It's a lot. We're not here to judge people, but it's facts. We got inflation going on. I always say people are not broke because of inflation. People are broke because prior to inflation, they was living a lifestyle that they shouldn't have. Now, you can do what you want to, but based on the data and the statistics, you shouldn't have been doing something to put yourself in this stupid situation. That's dumb. You look rich. You got shoes, cars, clothes, and everything else to go along with, but you broke. So me understanding this, you don't have to do what other people do. You don't have to do what I do. You can do what you want to do, but you have to understand the consequences of your actions. Money is a tool, man. Money is a tool. That's all it is. Money can solve your money problems. Money can be used to help others. Money can be used to have options. Money can be used to experience things. Now, obviously, it's a lot of things in the world, plenty of things in the world that you can do that doesn't involve money. But more often than not, especially if you live in America, you don't even have to be a consumer. You don't have to be somebody who just consumes or materialist. You're probably going to need money for something, right? And oftentimes, over time, we always change as people. This is why some people have resistance in their own lives and they don't know it's self-inflicted wounds, because we don't want to accept that we as humans are always changing. Oftentimes, everything around us that involves money, it's going to change as well. You have to adapt. You have to have a savings. You have to have a plan. You have to have a structured out plan that you're going to follow to put yourself in a position to make sure that you don't have self-inflicted wounds, at least not a lot of them. Because self-inflicted wounds can compound, just like interest. You haven't dealt with one that you put upon yourself from 2-3 years ago, and you still compounding self-inflicted wounds day to day. You make a decision today that tomorrow is going to hurt you. You don't want to accept it. Stubborn. But me understanding money is just this. The more I have, the more I can give to myself and to others. Everybody talk about sharing and being kind. Listen to me, man. You can come up with every excuse that sound good because you want to make a statement that you think can be objectified. Forget all that bullshit. Get money and show the world the kindness you preach. You understand what I'm saying? If you're the type of person that always got something to say about kindness and sharing and giving, make sure you have something to give. This is what I tell myself. Can't nobody tell me shit about money. Because at the end of the day, you don't have to be rich to have your shit together. Broke is not the opposite of rich. Broke is a combination of habits. You are always dealing with the consequences of your actions, your habits, what you do on a day-to-day basis. If you make $30,000 a year, you probably want to live below your means while finding a way to make more. If you make $100,000 a year, you want to live below your means while finding a way to make more. If you add $150,000 and you live below your means and everything is going well, you don't have to find a way to make more. Just make sure you don't increase your expenses, your cost of living below your means. Even wealthy people live below their means. This is what people don't understand about money. Money is something that you control. It's a plan. You have to be disciplined with this shit. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Money is no different. There's nothing noble about being poor. If you are in a first world country, pay attention. You have opportunities that people around the world do not have. Period. People are forced to be poor. That's why people are trying to leave their country to come to other countries like America, Canada, hell, the United Kingdom, the UK. People are going everywhere else but where they come from because their country doesn't have the same resources and opportunity such as America and other first world countries. So if you're in a first world country, you have these opportunities. Spend less time complaining about stuff you can't control and focus on controlling your situation, your financial situation. Money is not number one, but it's right up there with air. You can argue it, you can make an excuse about it, it still doesn't matter. Tomorrow, more often than not, the majority of us will need something that we're going to have to use money or some type of exchange, some trade, right? And speaking about trade, a lot of people say we're not supposed to work for money. Back in the day, we used to trade. Okay, today, you give time to get paid, for the most part, people with a job, right? In the past, when we used to trade as people, you had to spend time to produce something that was of value to trade with. Let's say you had to grow fruits, vegetables. You were a farmer basically. You're somebody who grew produce. You had to grow the fruit. It was seasons. It was a process, and there was time. You had to spend time doing this. You traded time to produce something that you then exchanged for something else. You know, money was created to have some sort of value. It's some initial value because everybody didn't have gold, right? But even before that, even if you had gold or not, let's say you grew a tomato, you can exchange with somebody who had a potato. If you had animals, you still had to raise the animals. You have to protect the animals so they can reproduce. You have to make sure they give birth, and then you have to protect the cubs, the babies, the whatever it is, to make sure they grow so you can use them as a trade. That's why we killed animals. We skinned them, we cleaned them, we chopped them up, we sold them by the pound. You could trade a pound of meat for a pound of potatoes or whatever the metrics are. I'm not being specific, I'm just giving an example. You're going to trade time for money now. But in doing so, you trade time for money, and while you sleep, you put money to work for you. So money doesn't need to sleep. Money doesn't need a break. The psychology of money is simple, yet it's hard for people to grasp. When you make money, control your emotions to not go and just spend it on material. And if you do, deal with the consequences. You understand what I'm saying? This is not something where I'm trying to belittle people, man. It's just, we're just having a talk here because a lot of people have a 9-to-5 and they want to understand how to build wealth with money. And the simple fact is you have to make sure you have something saved after. You spend your money on your essentials, your rent, your mortgage, your car note. Some people argue you shouldn't even have a car note. You should be able to buy a car cash. Look, I know everybody have situations. Everybody just can't go buy a car cash. Or everybody doesn't want to buy a hoopty. You know what I'm saying? Some people want to have something that's more reliable. Okay. Make a plan that makes sense even if you go that route to where you have a car note. You have to have money set aside to be able to invest with. If you're going the 9-to-5 route, everybody's not going to have a successful business, right? We know that. You don't have to have a successful business to be financially successful, just as much as you don't have to be rich to not be broke. I always say, you don't have to be rich to have your shit together. It's just process of elimination. What can you eliminate that's holding you back from where you want to be with what you have? Like they say, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. You can make $1 million a year and live paycheck to paycheck, just as much as people like to say, people only make $30,000 a year. Of course they're living paycheck to paycheck. It's a lot of people living paycheck to paycheck that's making 10, 20 times that. It's in the decisions. You have quotes out there, statements. Don't keep up with the Joneses. Live below your means. You know, you got a big hat, no cattle. You know, writing a check that you can't cash. All these statements are basically saying the same thing. If you make $100,000 a year, you should live as if you only make it 30. That gives you more than enough to have left over to do whatever you want. Even if you don't want to be an investor, a business owner, You have money put aside to do certain things to put you in a position to where you're not suffering. But we haven't been taught this. This is not a black thing. People, if you haven't been taught money, you're not going to understand how to deal with money. So like myself, you have to learn a lot of things. You have to talk to people who are successful with money. You have to, we have YouTube, we have the internet. You don't necessarily have to read books. A lot of people will recommend reading books. I think that's important. It's a vital way to learn about money, but you can talk to people, or you can listen to people who are proven to be successful when it comes to their financial situations, and you can learn from them. Some of you are going to want Lambos and Ferraris and Bugattis. Look, I'm not here to tell you what you can and can't buy. Do as you so please. I'm not even here to tell you what to do with your money, but somewhere in there you have to have some accountability. You know, we always talk about accountability. If you're broke, man, you might have to do something you don't want to do to get yourself out of the position you don't want to be in right now. It's a sacrifice. The same thing with money. It might take you a few months or a few years to get in the position you want to be when it comes to money. That's okay. If you don't do it, you'll suffer, or you'll endure whatever you're feeling or going through right now for an extended period of time, versus going through the pain now and possibly, it's not a guarantee, but if you don't do it, you're guaranteed you're going to do this, you're going to endure this pain forever. But you have a possibility to remove yourself from the situation you're going through right now. But you have to sacrifice. It's the understanding of money, the understanding of psychology, the understanding of habits, the understanding of doing things you don't want to do. Sacrifice. We have to do it, especially as men. A man wants a family, has to have resources. You don't have to be rich, but you must have resources. You must understand things about money. You may not come across a wife who's financially savvy. Some of you may. At the end of the day, as a man, you're supposed to have some type of financial literacy. You understand what I'm saying? I wouldn't say you have to be rich. Everybody's not going to build the next Tesla, Amazon, or some billion-dollar company. But you don't have to have that just to not be broke. You don't have to have that just to not be just to be considered successful. Plenty of people are successful in their own way. Like I say, I'm not preaching money is everything. It's something though. We can't deny that, right? Some of you are going to be angry. Oh, money isn't shit without people. Well, some people would argue people ain't shit without money. As in, kindness is not going to pay your bills. Morals is not going to pay your bills. Although we should have kindness and morals, right? It's all the understanding of money, man. Money is just a tool. It can be an illusion. It can be fake. Life is considered an illusion, but it's a prominent one. It's serious because you're living it. And as much as this all may be fake, if you don't take it serious, you suffer, right? That suffering is not fake. That's some real shit you're going through, right? When you commit an act and you deal with the consequences of that act, you might sit there and plead to the world how, oh, one day we're all going to die and it doesn't matter. But in this moment, your ass is going to suffer for that act that you committed, right? That crime that you committed, that decision you've made. It's the same thing with money. It's the same thing with life. You can write a book on how fake life is all you want. You can write a book on illusions about money and the biggest scam. Look, you're going to be the biggest scam. Because even though you understand money and life may be a scam, and you can preach to the walls turn blue about how it's a scam, guess what? If you're not making certain decisions to make sure you're not suffering from bad decisions pertaining to life and money and the scams of the world, you will be the biggest scam. Accountability. I'm not trying to write a book that's already been written. I'm trying to write a book that's have blank papers and I'm the one holding the pen. It's the same thing with money, man. It's the same thing about understanding life. This is something you just have to do. This is something you just have to do. And if you don't, it's consequences. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to talk about it. So we're gonna keep it going, man. I'm gonna have a lot more videos coming out about this money thing because apparently, you know, everybody's suffering. Everybody going through their own problems, but you know, you have to find a way to get yourself out of that situation. And most of the time it's countering what you've been doing. What you've been doing may not be working. You have to counter it. You have to do something different.
Hope to see you again soon.
Still here.
Oh, that was it. I think that was it. All right. So what he's trying to get you to do is shake up your mental processes. Whenever you read about making money, like what's his name's Rich Dad Poor Dad, I think his name is Kiyosaki or Kiyosaki. He basically allows you to see money in a different light. In other words, a home is not an asset because you have to make a mortgage payment on it. It's not an asset. You have to do maintenance on it. It's not an asset. What it is it's something that depreciates over time and can be used for you to make money off of it, to pay for the asset and have money left over for profit. But it itself is not really an asset. It's considered an asset, but in reality it isn't. It's a liability. So what some people will call an asset, others call liabilities. What the wealthy calls that a liability because it costs them money to maintain it. So they don't really want liabilities. Like an employee, I'm sorry to say this, everybody knows an employee is a liability to the company. If they can cut you, they can cut you, and they will cut you, and they'll replace you with a robot that looks just like you, except it doesn't take breaks. Okay? They really don't care. They really don't care. And that's why after a while I started thinking about, like, I had a boss, I talked to my boss, his name was Bob. He had a signature loan company. His asset was his money. So if he loaned you $1,000 and he would charge you, like, I think it was $300-400 in interest and payments and fees and shit like that. And that's how he would make his money. His money would make more money directly through the loan process. And when people wouldn't pay back the loan, it would go on their credit and ruin their credit. And he would be pissed off, But other than that, he would make money. Some days, everybody would make their payments on time and he'd get his money. And that's how he became a multimillionaire. So that's an example. Like when I invest in stocks, I invest in selling or buying stocks, whether they go up or down in value. I have to, time it right, and I have to make a good decision when I do my Forex. Well, if I make a good decision, like one night, I went to bed, I left it running, and I woke up and I had doubled my money. I had perpetual money of 10,000 in there. It's perpetual money. It's not real money. It's like paper money. It's fake, like Monopoly money. But I had 10,000. That's what the training program, the demo program, allows you to have. So I set it up, and then when I woke up, I had a profit of 10,000. Overnight, the whole thing went to 10,000 because I saw the pattern and I went for it. Now, if that was real money, if I had a real $10,000, I would have made $10,000 in real money. And I really would be very, very happy because it was a good pattern. It was pretty damn obvious. So these things, that's how I could have gotten my money to make me more money, just like Bob did. I make my money work for me instead of me working for money. It's a common theme when you start researching money, that's what you're supposed to be doing. But people will do things that they're familiar with. They'll start a company. Like if I was successful in engineering or computers or anything like that, I probably would have started a small startup company and found projects to set up with the rest of whoever goes in with me. But, that way is not even working anymore. Nowadays, they're doing content production like this. Now, I don't get paid from YouTube. I don't have enough subscribers or anything like that to get paid. This guy does. 25,000 for a reason. 25,000 subscribers for a reason. He's good. He's good. But, I just put mine out there for entertainment purposes. I didn't expect this to do anything. But I just try to have fun with it. So I don't have another one lined up. I still got some time. Let's see if we can do another one. He's got so many good videos. Okay. Okay, I think we just saw that one, right? Is that the one?
Money isn't everything.
Okay, there it is. Yeah, my mindset towards money. This is a recent video, 3 hours ago, by Linval Williams. That's so good. I'm glad I found this guy. Jack Morgan, who is another guy I subscribe to. He's more visual in his stuff, so that's why I don't play his videos, because he actually shows you quotes and things like that from other people and research. These guys don't. They'll talk. How to profit from a recession. Let's check that one out, because this man is good. Oh, God. Let's do this. I like the kitty kitty. They found the kitty kitties. Meows. Looks like my baby boy. Anyway. Alright, let's continue.
It's the stock market will always crash. But one thing a lot of people don't know is the understanding of the opportunity that is presented every time the market goes through a crash or a bear market. Economic growth is measured by the increase of gross domestic product, or GDP. Warren Buffett said himself, when the market crashes, I don't lose.
Yeah.
When the market goes up, I don't win. It's all in selling. If I don't sell when it's down, I don't suffer from a loss. If I don't sell when it's up, I don't profit from a gain. Warren Buffett is known to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest investor of our time, or of all time. Right now, we are in what people consider a recession. The market has tanked. The markets have fell over a certain amount of points compared to previous market crashes, such as 1929, Wall Street crash, the recession of 1937. We have the Kennedy slide of 1962. We have Friday the 13th, the mini crash of 1989. We have Black Monday 1987, and so forth and so on. You have situations like the dot-com bubble in 2000. You have the financial crisis of 2007 to 2008. You also have the flash crash 2010, United States bear market 2007. You know, in 2011 we had stock markets fall. 2015 the stock market sell off, and 2020 obviously coronavirus. We had the COVID-19 crash of the market. If you pay attention to the stock market, after each of these crashes, you will realize that the market does what? It always bounces back.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett himself says, when the market crashes, or when the market gives itself an opportunity to be bought at a cheaper price, I go and I buy more. See, this is how you profit from a bear market or a market crash. In the previous video, I said, I consider it a fire sale. When the market sells off, it's important to have money set aside, resources, capital, waiting for this opportunity. While everybody is selling, we are getting ready to buy. We cannot control what everybody else does. We have to control what we do. You will know something that a lot of people won't know. Or if people know it, they will not accept it for what it is. When the market crashes, we should be in a position to buy. S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, low-cost index funds, ETFs, whatever it is. Warren Buffett himself said he invests in low-cost index funds to build up retirement savings. He also is adamant on staying focused and don't panic when the market fluctuates. Warren Buffett believes that we shouldn't bet on individual stocks, but look for durable competitive stocks or advantages of wonderful companies at a fair price. He also preaches intrinsic value, which a lot of people hear the quote but don't understand what it really means. Warren Buffett is not talking about stock that have billions of dollars. He's basically talking about stock that it can endure growth over an extended period of time, like Coca-Cola. We can argue about how unhealthy Coca-Cola is, but Coca-Cola has been around for how long? And it will possibly be around for even longer. Warren Buffett is invested in Coca-Cola, which is probably one of the few individual stocks that he is invested in. There's three things I want to talk about when it comes to profiting from a recession. One, you understand that the market would always crash. Two, You need to have money set aside. When everybody's selling, we buy. When the housing market crashes, you want to have good credit. You want to have capital to be able to take advantage of not only the stock market, but the housing market. People are selling their homes at a cheaper price to get out. They can't stomach the pain. We're not here to prey on individuals. But when people make certain decisions, they're making it for themselves. We have to make our own decisions. That's why I always say it's important to have money set aside. If you don't want to work 2 to 3 jobs, that's fine. But if you're not in a position where you come from money, like a lot of people, you have to do what you have to do to put yourself in a position to take advantage of these opportunities when they present themselves. Right now, the S&P 500 has sold off over the last 4 or 5 days. We don't know if it's going to continue to sell off, but right now, it's far away from its highs. The high of the S&P 500 index is $5,721. Right now, I'm looking at the futures market. The S&P went to a low of 5,120. That's over 600 points away from the highs. In the year 2022, the S&P 500 had a red year. In a total of 12,000 points, it dropped from the open of January. In the last 5 days, the S&P 500 has sold off half of that. So given the circumstances, given everything that we know, it's not about timing the market. It's about waiting for the market to sell off and we slowly put our money into the market. This is something Warren Buffett says. Always have cash around to take advantage when the market sells off, because one thing's for sure is it's going to always bounce back. When everybody is in fear, you're supposed to suffer from a little bit of greed because you understand that this may be your opportunity. Successful people that are considered traders and investors, Paul Tudor Jones, we hear about the stories about the BNF trader. We hear about the stories about the trader who made a $40 billion trade in one day, shorting the bear market. We see movies, we have documentaries. All these people are preying on the fact that it's fear, it's blood in the streets. Certain people can't stomach the loss, so they're selling. And they're forcing the market to go down at a rapid rate because each price is being hit. Everybody is slapping the bid. They're trying to get out. They're trying to get out. And the whole time, we should be sitting around waiting to take advantage. We should be getting in slowly. We're not trying to time the bottom. If we could, everybody would be rich. But the market has sold off in such a way, as I'm talking about right now, the S&P 500. These are situations where we need to take advantage of if we're talking about profiting from a recession and building wealth over the long term. It's not a strategy I'm trying to sell. It's just something we're talking about based on information of some of the greatest investors that's ever lived. They've all had this same approach, this ideology, this methodology of when the market is selling off, we should be buying. When the market is running, when the market is in a bull market, we're just simply letting it move. You haven't lost until you sold. You haven't won until you sold. It's all about value. 10 years from now, hindsight, where would the market be? I would argue that the market would not be where it's at now. And the market would also not be down as far as today we're at 5,300. And 10 years from now, we'll be at 2,000. Possibly not going to happen. But this is something we know. This is our advantage. An intelligent individual not only acquires knowledge, but he put it to practice. So even though we understand this opportunity, how do we profit from what we know? We have to have capital. You have to have a savings. You have to have money put aside. It's essential. So whether it's this recession, next recession, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, no matter what, if you want to profit from the market selling off, you have to put yourself in a position to have money and a savings somewhere. So when the opportunity presents itself, you can fire. It's like rapid fire. You don't hesitate. This is what you're waiting for. You smell blood in the streets. It's time to go. You see people selling great homes at a low price because they're trying to get out because they didn't take the profit when it was up, or they can't stomach the pain because they can't foresee the future. Nobody can. This is what we buy. And we want to keep in mind that when the market fluctuates, whether it's real estate or the stock market, the financial markets, give it 5 to 10, 15 years, where would it be? See, me as a father, I'm already thinking, most of my money is going to go to my children anyway. I'm not in a rush to sell for a profit, and I'm not sitting back and distraught because the market has sold off. I am thinking it's time to buy more. Do I have cash set aside to be able to put into the market, to be able to profit from the market? That's the mindset. But it's going to take sacrifice. But given that we know this, you're going to have an advantage, whether it's now, 5 years from now, 15 years from now. This is something you can teach your children. This is something I would teach my kids. It's free. The investors are giving it away. Anytime these people have conversations about how they're so successful with investing, they say one thing. It's all about value, and it's all about not selling when the market crashes and not selling when the market is in a bull run. Because you can sell today for $100,000. You can sell 10 years from now for $1 million. You can sell 40 years from now for $1 billion. It's all up to how you allocate your money and take advantage of each crash when the market presents its opportunity to buy it at a cheaper price.
Be sure to stop by Sadri's used wares in the break.
You must be one of those people. Huh?
Well, he's talking about some serious strategies. Basically, you want to buy when everybody's selling out and the prices are low, so that when the value comes back, it appreciates. So if I buy something from somebody who's willing to sell real cheap, you know, right now because they can't afford it, and I can afford to buy it and hold it, then I can buy it, hold it, and let it appreciate. But you're not going to get that with trailers. You're not going to get that with any kind of vehicle. Vehicles always depreciate the second they're off the lot. He's talking about stocks, and there's different stocks out there. I do Forex only, but other people may do actual stocks in companies as opposed to the currency exchange, which is what Forex is. That's the value of a currency as opposed to the value of another currency in relationship. And they have pairs, and these pairs make up the stock exchange for currencies called Forex. But what he's talking about is like in investing in stocks that when they're real low, so that they increase in value when the thing resets. But the thing is, he also said that they crash. So it just depends on how you see that advice. I don't have the luxury of having savings. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. This month, I'm looking at eating the cheapest food I can get, even if it's bad for my diabetes, because it's the cheapest food I can get. I can no longer afford to be a vegetarian because the food is too expensive. Those processed foods, those substitute foods for meats are too expensive. For all that, I have real meat. So I go and I get the cheapest bologna. I mean, basically the stuff I used to eat when I was in college, you know, when I was real tight on money in college, that's what I'm eating now. That's how I'm surviving. And I'm thankful for it. I'll tell you, because there's people out there like my friend Bernie, who's no longer with us. You know, he's living off the system, trying to scavenge wherever he can, barely making it. And he didn't have anything. He didn't have any money to pay with. He had nothing. You know, his family had to help him, and even then they maybe buy him a phone or whatever. So, you know, I did what I could to help him, and in this case, I'm just thankful I have what I have. I have AC. My AC is working even though it's set to like 79, 80, but it's working. It's on. It's a lot better than it is outside right now. You know, when I got bed bugs, I found out that if you leave your laundry in the car spread out, it bakes at about 180 degrees. If you can bake it at 180 degrees for 3 hours, or more in your car, your laundry, you'll kill the bed bugs and you'll kill the larva that's in there, because the bed bugs came back on me because I didn't do that. I didn't bake the laundry. So the eggs, the larvae, they hatched and they started eating me alive. So I had to rewash everything. And now that I have it washed, I put it out there like one bag at a time of laundry, because I got several bags. I spread it out in the back seat, closed up the car, you know, make sure the windows aren't open. And that son of a bitch is going to bake the shit out of those bed bugs. By the time I'm done, those bed bugs should be eliminated. And the only way they'd come back is if they were held up somewhere else. But I got plastic on the mattress to make sure the mattress is no longer a viable food source, and so on and so forth. So I've taken serious steps, because I hate those fucking things. God damn, they're itchy. They're, you know, not everybody feels what the bed bugs do, but the bed bugs do feed off you, and some people are not sensitive to it. Okay, some people, they get bit, they don't even feel it, they don't get a sore, so they don't know they were bit. You know, but I get bit, and that son of a bitch, you know, it tingles for a very long time. I have to put, what's it called, hydrocortisone cream on top of it to get rid of the itch, because it's just annoying as fuck. I mean, I thought the fleas were bad. The fleas are nothing, and fleas and mosquitoes are nothing compared to a fucking bed bug. But anyway, that's something else. So anyway, so this guy, Linval Williams, he's an excellent source of information. He's trying to get you to be smart with your money, come up with a plan, and you know, to survive. So it's important. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here, and we'll continue. Thanks for watching. In about 56 minutes or so.